In a world where kindness often feels like a rare commodity, one man's simple act of compassion changed the life of a homeless woman in ways neither of them could have ever imagined. This is a story about humanity, hope, and the unexpected connections that can arise from the most unlikely circumstances. So settle in, because what you're about to hear might just restore your faith in the goodness of people. I've noticed only 98% of you who watch haven't subscribed. Come on, guys, show some love and support. Thanks a bunch to those who have already subscribed. Meet David, an ordinary man living in a quiet neighborhood. He's the kind of person who goes about his day, often lost in his thoughts, but with a heart that beats for those in need. One chilly evening, as he returned home from work, he noticed a woman sitting on the curb, wrapped in a tattered blanket, her eyes reflecting a mixture of despair and resilience. Her name was Sarah, and she had been living on the streets for months, battling the harsh realities of homelessness. David felt a tug at his heartstrings. He had seen many people in need before, but something about Sarah's situation struck a chord deep within him. He hesitated for a moment, contemplating whether to approach her or simply walk past. But as he looked into her weary eyes, he knew he couldn't just ignore her. "Are you okay?" David asked, his voice gentle yet filled with concern. Sarah looked up, surprised by the kindness in his tone. "I'm just trying to get through the day," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. David could see the dirt on her skin and the weariness etched on her face. It was clear that she hadn't had a proper shower in days, maybe even weeks. In that moment, David made a decision that would change both their lives. "Would you like to come to my house and take a shower?" he offered, not fully aware of the impact his words would have. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. "You would let me do that?" she asked, her voice trembling with a mix of hope and skepticism. "Of course," David replied, gesturing for her to follow him. As they walked to his home, Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. It had been so long since anyone had shown her kindness, and the thought of a warm shower felt like a distant dream. Once inside, David led Sarah to the bathroom, where he handed her a fresh towel and some toiletries. "Take your time," he said, closing the door behind him. As the water cascaded down, Sarah felt the warmth envelop her, washing away not just the dirt, but also the weight of her struggles. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to forget, if only for a moment, the harsh realities of her life. David waited outside, his heart heavy with empathy. He couldn't help but think about how easily life could change. One moment he was a man with a stable job and a home, and the next he could be in Sarah's shoes, facing the world with nothing but the clothes on his back. After what felt like an eternity, Sarah emerged from the bathroom, her face glowing with a newfound sense of dignity. She looked at David, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I can't believe you did this for me." David smiled, but he could see the pain behind her gratitude. "Everyone deserves a little kindness," he replied. They sat down together, and Sarah began to share her story. She spoke of the circumstances that led her to the streets, loss, addiction, and the struggle to find a way back. David listened intently, his heart aching for her. As they talked, a bond began to form. David learned about Sarah's dreams, her passions, and the life she once had. She was an artist, a painter, who had lost her way. "I used to create beautiful things," she said, her voice filled with longing. "But now, I can't even find a place to sleep." David felt a surge of inspiration. He wanted to help her not just with a shower, but to help her reclaim her life. "What if I could help you get back on your feet?" he asked, his voice steady. "I know some resources, shelters, and programs that could help you." Sarah looked at him, a mix of hope and disbelief in her eyes. "You would really do that for me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. David nodded, determined to make a difference. They spent the next few hours discussing a plan, David helped Sarah find a local shelter that offered not just a place to stay, but also art classes and job training. As they mapped out her next steps, Sarah felt a sense of empowerment she hadn't experienced in a long time. The warmth of the shower had not only cleansed her body, but also reignited a spark within her. She realized that perhaps her dreams were not as far out of reach as she had thought. David became a beacon of hope in her life, guiding her through the maze of resources available to those in need. They exchanged phone numbers, and David promised to check in on her regularly. "You're not alone in this," he reassured her. "I'll be here to support you every step of the way." Days turned into weeks, and David kept his promise. He would often visit Sarah at the shelter, bringing her art supplies and encouraging her to paint again. Slowly but surely, Sarah began to reclaim her identity as an artist. Each brushstroke on the canvas was a step toward healing, a way to express the emotions she had bottled up for so long. As Sarah's confidence grew, so did her desire to give back. She started volunteering at the shelter, helping others who were in similar situations. She shared her story, inspiring those around her to believe in the possibility of change. David watched in awe as Sarah transformed from a woman lost in despair to a vibrant artist with a purpose. Months later, Sarah was invited to showcase her artwork at a local gallery. It was a moment she had only dreamed of, and she couldn't have done it without David's unwavering support. On the night of the exhibition, she stood in front of her paintings, surrounded by friends, fellow artists, and community members who had come to celebrate her journey. David was there, beaming with pride. As Sarah spoke to the crowd about her experiences, she emphasized the importance of kindness and community. "It only takes one person to make a difference," she said, her voice strong and clear. "David showed me that there is hope, and I want to be that hope for others." The exhibition was a success, and Sarah's story began to spread throughout the community. People were inspired by her resilience and the kindness of a stranger who had changed her life. David's simple act of compassion had created a ripple effect, encouraging others to reach out and help those in need. As Sarah continued to thrive, she and David formed a lasting friendship. They collaborated on art projects, organized community events, and worked together to raise awareness about homelessness. Their bond was a testament to the power of human connection and the impact of kindness. In a world that often feels divided, Sarah and David's story serves as a reminder that compassion can bridge the gap between strangers. It shows us that we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small our actions may seem. So as you reflect on this story, consider how you can be a source of hope for someone in need. Whether it's a simple smile, a helping hand, or a listening ear, your kindness could change someone's life forever. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more inspiring tales, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to spread positivity and hope. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, kindness is contagious. Let's keep it spreading.